two things have gone on since the pandemic. One is that people have been getting really good at like hobbies, like crafty kind of hobbies. So good, in fact, that people that have now learned how to knit or how to build furniture or whatever it is they're doing have decided that they're going to make something and give that as a gift for Christmas. So your Christmas gift will be something that your best friend, your auntie, or your sister decided that they could now do during the pandemic because they're bored, and they've started knitting sweaters and building cabinets.
I'll get a scarf and mittens.
And the second thing that's happening is a lot of people don't have any money. Either one of the significant others, or if you're living alone, people don't have jobs. They don't have as much money. Not everybody's working, or maybe you're working, but your significant other is not. So they're not spending a lot of money for Christmas this year. So that's another reason why people are going to be making gifts. And like my boyfriend's brother, who I adore, but he's really cheap. Actually, he's got two brothers that are really cheap. There's 6 kids. One of them makes wine and the other makes jam. And every year for Christmas, we get wine and homemade jam.
Nice.
But so now this year, because of the pandemic and one of them's not working, we're going to get like boxes of homemade wine and jam. And I'm just going to go ahead and re-gift all that stuff to you guys.
Well, speaking of the pandemic in New York, I saw the new thing that people are upset about is that restaurants are putting their tables out in the parking spots for cars.
They've been doing that for months, yeah.
So cars can't park anywhere. So they keep driving around and around and around for hours at a time. So this is getting to be a big thing in New York that people can't park. They did away with 100,000 parking spots for restaurants.
Oh, that many? I mean, I noticed they did away with a lot of them. I didn't realize it was that many. And here's the crazy thing. Some of our blocks, you have 4 or 5 restaurants on a block, and they all have their outdoor cafes. It looks like France. And some of them so much so that they've closed the streets. There's one street on 18th Street between Park and Broadway that is completely closed because it's all restaurants out on the street that you can't drive through because it's not safe. There's too many restaurants. There's too many like waiters walking and people walking, and they got the street closed.
Some restaurants have wooden barricades around their tables, but others have less stable barriers. And then there are the restaurants without anything separating their chairs from traffic.
Typically drivers are pretty good about, being cognizant of pedestrians.
It's too close to the cars and the fumes, and we'd rather just make food at home. We can be 100% safe.
But I was actually looking at the article today of people driving around for hours, and I was getting hives again because that's the thing that drives me insane about New York. Even before this, I couldn't find a parking spot. Remember, I had to drive around for an hour to find some type of parking spot, and I think half my time that I was in New York, I spent my time looking for a parking spot.
Yeah, but we have parking garages everywhere. I mean, if you're coming into New York City and you're going to be spending money, just set aside an extra $25
an hour.
And no, it's not 25 an hour. I mean,
some of them are. Some of them near you are $25 an hour.
Well, okay, so set aside an extra $100 for parking and put your car in a lot and just be done with it.
The thing that people are really upset about now is not many people are using the subway or using cabs. They went out and bought their own car, but now they can't find a parking spot because the restaurants took up the parking spots.
Yeah, that's true. It's definitely a problem here, and I hear people talking about it all the time. A lot of people, what they're doing is they're parking in other neighborhoods, and then they're walking or taking a bus or even a cab to wherever it is they're going.
At 7 o'clock, you're hunting and pecking.
There is no park.
Going around at all hours.
It's got to be hell because that lane was the lane for bikes, too. So they're taking that lane away from the bikes to put tables in. So where do the bikes go?
No, they're not taking the lane away. Let me ask somebody who bikes all around the city. Like, that's how I get around. Like, I bike everywhere, and I mean everywhere, like as far as I need to go. So here's what they have done. This is my favorite thing. They have not taken away the bike lanes. The bike lanes are still there. They just build the restaurant stuff around them. Do you know how often I have been driving down a bike lane and there is a waiter carrying a tray of dishes standing in the middle of the bike lane? I got to ring my stupid bell so he can walk back like 2 feet and get up on the sidewalk and out of my way.